very nice but normal date. My plan was to take her for a romantic dinner at the most elegant restaurant in town and then drive to a nearby park where I would ask her to marry me. So far, everything was going perfectly. We arrived at the restaurant, which was on the top floor of the tallest building in our city, and were seated at a table with an incredible view. Only what I saw outside made my stomach tighten. Dark gray storm clouds were rolling in all around us, making it no surprise when I looked out the window a few minutes later and saw it raining. Not the gentle, romantic, singing in the rain kind of rain, but angry, fierce sheets of water that would be at home in the perfect storm. I swallowed hard. My carefully orchestrated plan to ask her to marry me at the park washed away before my eyes. I began to panic. Remaining calm and cool on the outside, I desperately improvised Plan B on the spot. I had no choice but to ask her to marry me in the restaurant. Only one problem. The ring was in my car parked outside many stories below us. No big deal, right? I casually excused myself for the restroom and took the elevator to the bottom floor. After making the mad dash to the car for the ring, I was completely soaked. "Where have you been?" she asked as I sat back down at the table, acting as if it were totally normal to be drenched by a visit to the men's room. As water trickled over the lenses of my glasses, I realized I'd have to come up with something else. I had to run down to the car." "Why?" Suddenly, all my romantic charm came out in a classic response that every woman longs to hear. "Well, my nose has been really stopped up, and I needed to get my nasal spray." "Nasal spray? Are you kidding me?" "That's funny," she said. "You gave me your nasal spray earlier. I have it right here in my purse." Busted. I wondered if I should take the nasal spray and use it and then ask her to marry me. Or maybe try to explain about the park and my original plan and the rain and, well, how we got to the nasal spray. Thankfully, I didn't. Instead, I took her hands in mine, looked in her eyes, and quoted a passage from Ruth in the Bible. "Don't ask me to leave you and turn back. Wherever you go, I will go. Wherever you live, I will live. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God. Wherever you die, I will die, and there I will be buried." Ruth 1:16-17. Then I walked around the table, dropped to one knee, and asked, "Lori, will you be my date for life? Will you marry me?" People in the restaurant were watching us by now. This klutzy, dripping wet guy was proposing to the calm, beautiful, bewildered-looking woman before him. I didn't care what anyone thought. Anyone except Lori. In that moment, there was only one word I wanted to hear. Yes. I stopped breathing, and then she said it. Softly but clearly, this astonishing woman said yes. And after Lori responded, I can't remember much of what happened. I was too awed by the realization that despite all my faults and all my character flaws and my teal-green Civic, she said yes. That ridiculous, wonderful moment started a vibrant commitment between Lori and me, one filled with many ups and a few downs. We made a lifelong promise to each other that has continued to grow and develop. Every day we come to know new aspects of each other. We face conflict and work through it together. We grow in intimacy. We've been blessed with fantastic children and ponder how in the world we will parent them. Our marriage is far from effortless, but it is more than worth it. No wonder, then, when God wanted to illustrate the passionate intensity of His relationship with us, He chose marriage. And perhaps what's truly startling is that He didn't introduce this marriage with a fairy tale story of the perfect, innocent princess and her Prince Charming. No, He chose a story that seems more at home on Desperate Housewives, a relationship that's completely peculiar and fractured, the marriage of the prophet Hosea and the prostitute Gomer. An untold love story. My hunch is you haven't heard a lot about Hosea and Gomer. It's an odd story and certainly one that is hard to wrap our minds around. And let's just admit up front that Gomer's name adds to the offbeat vibe. I immediately think of Gomer Pyle. Surprise, surprise, surprise. But it's just a cultural difference. Even though our society celebrates love stories, this one is quite a stretch. We're naturally drawn to movies such as Pride and Prejudice or Notting Hill, to name two of my wife's favorites, even if they leave us in tears. We cheered at the power of love triumphing in Sleepless in Seattle. We were charmed by a Hollywood fairy tale in Pretty Woman. We laughed through films such as Crazy Stupid Love and Definitely Maybe. And sometimes the power of love sneaks up on us. Who could forget Up? This is a cartoon, for goodness sake, but I cried twice when I first saw it, and then I teared up again the next day just thinking about the